I almost want to do Nitro first because I'm so furious. I just watched it. Fuck it. Let's do it. We're starting with Nitro.
Okay.
Get this shit out of the way.
WCW Monday Nitro, August 14th of the year 2000.
I got another thing I got to say, by the way, which we've never mentioned this before.
Let's get it out of the
I don't
way.
like to repeat my shit. This is new.
Okay.
So we always talk about how, like, we watch these shows and we have no idea what's going on, okay? One of the many reasons that this company died this year is this was the show after New Blood Rising, okay? Now, this happens all the time, but it really hit me here. They open up this show, and they don't tell you a fucking thing that happened on this pay-per-view. And then they just do the show.
Right.
And you watch it, and you have no fucking idea what's going on. Now, if this were, for example, UFC in 2010, and, like, they're doing millions of pay-per-view buys or something like that, 1 million pay-per-view buys, whatever. I mean, then you could think, well, at least a vast majority or at least a strong portion of the audience actually does know what's happening. Do you know how few people were buying these pay-per-views?
A couple of dozen.
A fucking drop in the ocean. Watch these pay-per-views as compared to how many people were watching Nitro. Nobody knew what was going on when this show started. Nobody. Because nobody watched that goddamn pay-per-view. So they come on the air here and they just presume that all 2.5 million people watching Nitro watch this pay-per-view. And the number was like 25 people maybe 30. I'm not even talking like 30,000. I mean, I can't imagine 30. It was me, Craig, you, and like 15 other people bought this fucking pay-per-view. Nobody watched this show. Nobody knows what's going on. And they just fucking barrel on through with the presumption that you know what's happening. How can you be a fan of this? It's impossible. They had so few fans, none of their fans were willing to pay a dime for their product.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? None of them were willing to pay a dime. And the people that were willing to watch for free, they don't even know what's fucking going on. Because nobody tells them what's fucking going on. A wretched show.
The funny thing about this show is it opened up with Vince Russo, who... I wasn't here last week, but 2 weeks ago...
He wasn't here last week either.
No, me.
No,
Me
he
personally.
wasn't here.
Right. But
We're right where you are, Craig.
Hold on. 2 weeks ago, he had a sit-down interview, and he kept saying over and over and over again, I don't want to be on TV.
He's a fucking liar. I thought that was abundantly clear. He said a bunch of shit. It was all lies.
And here he is opening up Nitro.
This fucking guy, whatever, you weren't here last week, whatever questions you have, I fucking have. And I was here last week. I don't know what's going on.
I actually watched this show even though I wasn't here.
Why would you do this?
Jesus
Because
Christ.
I thought I was going to be here.
I forgot what happened. All right.
I told him the last time he didn't have to come.
Yes.
I see. So, yes, Vince Russo, who does not want to be on TV, is on TV.
Right.
He's in the ring with Tank Abbott. He's using a lot of potty mouth.
A piece of shit, Bill Goldberg. This piece of shit, Bill Goldberg. Yeah, what did Bill Goldberg do? We don't even fucking know.
No idea.
Apparently he walked out last night or something.
I went to this show. I went to New Blood Rising in Vancouver, and I don't remember what it was.
Should we spoil it, or should we wait for Thursday in the
Well,
review?
there was a match, and Goldberg walked out, and the match, they had to call it on the fly.
To improvise a finish.
They had to improvise a finish. This is what the fucking announcers told us. They've got to improvise a finish because Goldberg wouldn't cooperate because he was a crybaby because he didn't want to lose.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That is the story.
I'm not fucking kidding you. That's what happened.
So they worked a shoot. They worked a work.
They worked a work.
Yes.
That's what they
They
did.
worked to work. That's exactly what they did.
Wow.
$62 million down the fucking tubes this year.
Wow.
So Russo says, I'm going to make an example out of Goldberg. I came to fire him on national TV. Chant for him, assholes, because you're Canadian, he says.
Brad Siegel.
Who?
Who the fuck is Brad Siegel? Like, I know who Brad Siegel is. Did anyone else watching this fucking show know who fucking Brad fucking Siegel is?
Guessing he's a higher up in...
No, he works at the fucking aquarium. Who fucking knows who Brad Siegel is?
The lead singer of Flock of Seagulls?
Jesus Christ. He won't let him fire Goldberg.
You can't fire Goldberg. The fans love him. So, he's a
like they
babyface.
are. He's a fucking heel the last time I saw him.
Apparently, Goldberg is a babyface now because the fans love him.
I see.
He says, Tank is there to kick Bill's ass.
Yeah, he says, do you forget what happened to the Phillips Arena?
We already saw
I'm like,
this.
I don't know what fucking happened to the
I have
Phillips
no
Arena.
idea what happened to the Phillips Arena.
I presume the Phillips Arena was that Goldberg-Tank Abbott match that Goldberg won clean, but I don't know
Yes.
because nobody explained it. He only mentioned the Phillips fucking Arena, like we're supposed to know where every fucking show comes from.
Let me consult my records, Vince. I'll see where this Phillips Arena show was and what happened there.
And then he says, well, what happened there was bullshit. He doesn't
Yeah.
tell us what happened.
Okay.
He just tells us something fucking happened at the Phillips Arena, and it was bullshit.
Correct.
Okay, well, that's cool. I don't know what you're fucking talking about, you idiot. And then he says, Goldberg, come out here. You and Tank can call it in the ring. He doesn't even know what a fucking shoot is. A shoot isn't calling it in the fucking ring. Calling in the fucking ring is what two workers do. But he's telling us it's going to be a fucking shoot because he's a goddamn idiot.
He said Bill Goldberg actually believes if this were real, he could kick everyone's ass.
Yeah.
He told you, the viewer,
Yep.
you were watching a fake wrestling show.
This show is fake, and this guy that you like, Goldberg, is also fake. And if it were real, he wouldn't be winning. But keep watching,
This is
fans.
the opening segment for a 2-hour professional wrestling show.
Yes.
Okay.
The announcers are like, get us out of here.
The-
What do you want us to say about this shit?
Russo's the one who calls for a break, by the way.
By the way, this is the show where Mark Madden has jumped the shark.
We'll get to him later.
I'm done with him.
So they go back after commercial, and Russo goes over to the announcers because the cameras focus on the
They're
announcers.
flummoxed, the announcers are.
And Russo goes over there and he grabs a headset. He starts screaming at Keith Mitchell to show the fight, you hick, show the fight. Russo's fucked up story that he created is that Tank and Goldberg are having a real fight, but Keith Mitchell won't show it. Okay?
That's the idea.
That's his idea. Yeah. So then he tells Keith Mitchell the hick, the same Keith Mitchell, by the way, that's, I believe, working for AEW now. But anyway, he tells this guy to show the fight. So they fucking cut to ringside, and these two are having the fakest pro wrestling match you've ever seen.
It's not even a good fight.
They're doing fucking Irish whips. Goldberg throws a super kick, and it misses, and Tank Abbott takes a bump. And I'm like... I can't even fathom this level of fucking incompetence. I can't even fathom it. How did this guy get a job writing this fucking show? How did he get brought back? How did this get on television? And the big question, how was he brought back the next week?
Yeah. Dude, how was he brought back the next week? How was he brought back with another job at another company down the line?
Yeah. That's not the only.
Well, that was Dixie Carter. And I mean, you know the story of Dixie Carter. I mean, she was more incompetent than he was.
Okay.
But
Well, that was
fucking
answer that
Jesus
question.
God Almighty.
Think of
This
that.
is like absolute insanity.
So the only good thing in this segment and the only good thing on these shows, it turns out,
It's when Russo says that's it and they cut away.
Right.
Done with this fucking segment.
shortly before that, they were in Kelowna, British Columbia. And a sign in the crowd reads, Goldberg fears Ogo Pogo.
That was funny.
That was funny.
Well, he should because this is fake shit.
I guess.
And he couldn't actually beat anybody if it was
So,
real.
on top of all this, Goldberg, in what is clearly a fake fight, but still, he beats Tank Abbott's ass. This is Russo's chosen weapon. And Goldberg is just emasculating him and ruining him. And every once in a while, Russo will run over and curse at Goldberg, and Goldberg will snarl at him, and Russo will run away. And this repeats for a while, and they go to break again. And after the segment, for the rest of the show, we never saw Tank Abbott or Vince Russo.
Yeah, it's over.
Okay.
Yeah. This was so far beyond stupid I have no words. But actually, I had like thousands of words.
Clearly you do.
And I could go on literally for years here. But I don't want to talk about this shithead anymore, so let's move on.
So we come back for the second break of the show now.
Yeah, 12 minutes in.
12 minutes in, 2 commercial breaks, 0 wrestling. The announcers are back, and they explain what happened at the pay-per-view.
By the way, I just want to make it clear. That opening segment may have been the dumbest segment I've ever seen on a wrestling show.
It's way up there.
I mean, I'm trying to think of one dumber than that. I can't. Like, that's historic right there. That's the dumbest. And apparently, this was better than the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So, fuck, we got to watch that show.
So the announcers explain that in the Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner, Bill Goldberg three-way dance, Bill Goldberg walked out.
Yeah.
And they make it clear, It was not on the format. And they actually hold up a format.
Hudson says it was not in the script.
Yes.
It was not in the storyline. He walked out.
It was on the format, what was booked or what was planned. Okay.
And then I'm just fucking so mad because after this, Shane Douglas and Tori come out, and it's a pro wrestling show again.
Exactly.
And like Douglas is talking
On with
about
the fake stuff.
He's talking about Kidman strapping him and blah, blah, blah. Calls out fucking Reno. Who the fuck is Reno? Kidman comes out and there's Vito. So they have this tag match. It's Kidman and Vito versus Douglas and Reno. I'm just watching this. All I can think is, so am I supposed to think this is fake or real? What am I watching
They
right
have
now?
made abundantly clear, Brian, you're watching a fake wrestling
Okay, so
show.
this is fake.
This is fake.
All of this is fake.
Everything on the show is fake.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah. So they have a short, inoffensive match. Vito pins Reno with a frog splash. Now the match is out of the way. It's time for another angle.
They make sure to mention, by the way, Reno is an accomplished street fighter.
Much like Tank.
Okay. That's good to know because everything else is fake.
Yeah,
I need to know who's real.
You know, just a quick aside. When I was a kid watching NWA and WWF, I just assumed that NWA was real and WWF was fake.
Really?
Yeah, because there's lots of blood in NWA.
But WWE never told you they were fake.
And there was all these characters. They didn't have that in NWA.
There were no cartoons.
You know what I mean?
National Wrestling Alliance.
So now they're just outright telling you it's fake.
Yes.
And if I was a little kid,
And they lost $62 million. It's fucking ridiculous. Fake.
there you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, they do a quick match because they have to. Then once it's done, they can do what they really want to do, which is garbage. Shane attempts to handcuff Billy Kidman to the ropes. Vito handcuffs Shane to the ropes instead.
I got to mention that Kidman and Vito won because that's important to what's coming next.
Okay. Outcome, the perfect event. Mark Jindrak and Sean O'Hare. They are all wearing blue jeans and no shirts. They appear to be the world's most muscular boy band. Scott Hudson, and if I could go back in time and change anything about this era, I would have kept this name. He refers to these four men as the Green Mile, which is awesome. So they beat up Kidman, they beat up Vito. Somehow Shane Douglas is out of the handcuffs. I don't even know how. And the Green Mile leave with Reno. We go to the Cat's office. Disco was apparently on VH1. He wants the Cat to play a clip of this. Mm-hmm. They talk about how Tigers was banging the Cat last night.
Right.
Their valet was servicing the Cat sexually the night before.
By the way, is Cat a heel or a babyface?
Who the fuck knows?
Well, the answer, Craig, is he's a babyface, but they're in Canada,
Right.
so he's a heel. That's the fucking story.
I guess.
All right.
So,
Which, by the way, I just want to mention one thing. As fucking dumb as this show was, and as worthless and horrible as WCW was at this point in time, even they knew it's okay for a Canadian to be cheered when they're in Canada.
Right. That's true.
Even they knew that. WWE has to do everything in their fucking power to make sure that Sami Zayn doesn't get cheered. Why does it fucking matter the 1 week they're in? It doesn't. Mm-hmm. But they're obsessed with it. This place is just like, fuck, we're in Canada. Let the guy be cheered. Who gives a shit? He'll be booed when he comes back to America.
So the filthy animals were apparently tired of the Cat having his way with their woman, so they brought him his own woman, Mrs. Jones. Now, I know there's a song.
We got a thing going on.
Yeah.
By the
But
way,
still,
I want to mention
by name, she is a married woman they're bringing to her.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
So that the match we just watched is every Russo match ever. The winners get beaten up at the end and left laying.
Yeah, I didn't mention that.
Yeah, that's the key to the whole
Well, I
thing.
got lost in all that other
Nobody
garbage.
got over as usual.
Yeah. So she says she'll do anything for the Cat, Mrs. Jones does.
Cool. This led to nothing.
David Flair shows up. He is covered in mud from the mud match the night before. Major Guns runs up. She wants to know if she's all right. I've been worried sick, she says. And David has nothing to say.
This was some middle school acting right here.
So at
there's more to come.
at this point, what we knew as viewers was there was a serious injury in a mud match.
Right.
Yes.
I was like, I gotta watch this show. Are you fucking kidding me?
So-
David lurches down to the ring, covered in fucking mud. So we open this show, and it's like, this is all fake bullshit. Like, here's David walking covered in mud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not fake.
No, it was real mud, as we saw later. It started to fly off.
It really was.
So
The announcers tell us it's an unscheduled segment.
yes, this is off the
So
format.
this is a shoot.
I guess.
It's a shoot that he's covered in mud and he didn't change his clothes or bathe. And Stacy had a serious injury in a mud match. That's what you're fucking telling me?
That's the plan.
That's the shit you're trying to sell me here?
So
They cut backstage
They
as he's
kind of-
lurching to the ring, and Major Guns is watching on a monitor, and she has to cry.
She's weeping.
And the MIA is way off in the background playing cards at a table.
they don't give a shit about
They
Miss Hancock's
do not
serious
give a
injury.
shit. And she's like, oh my God, guys, come here. David's in the ring and he's crying. And they're like, go fish or whatever. Just fucking so dumb.
Craig, I believe you just call this middle school acting.
Yeah.
I did a lot of acting in middle school. We were
wasn't
way
that-
better than Major Guns here.
Oh, anybody is. Paisley's better.
Probably true. So
Paisley today, I said, do you need to go potty? She said no.
Like,
I said, when did you go potty last? Did you go potty with mommy at the mall? And she says, yes. I said,
skeptical.
did you go potty with mommy when we got home? She said, yes. I said, did you go potty with mommy in the tree? She said, yes.
Sure.
Okay, so I knew she was lying, but she said it with such sincerity that I believed her until she told me that her and mommy went pee up in a tree. So anyway, the point of this is
runs in the
she's
family.
You're right.
3.5 years fucking old, and she's so much better than Major Guns was in this segment right here. Not to mention David and Stacy.
Daddy does.
I've also, by the way, I can confirm your daughter is a much better crier than Major Guns. It's
true.
So
That's true.
So we're first of all, before the mud match happened, on pay-per-view, on a show that fans had to pay money to watch, Miss Hancock and Major Guns got in a wrestling ring and attempted to do moves.
They did? I thought it was a mud match.
Then they went to the mud.
Oh.
They were like body presses and cradles and bullshit.
I see. I did see that picture of Stacy's body press.
So, by the way, Miss Hancock is now Stacy Keebler.
Yes, because it's a shoot.
This is
Vinny.
a shoot, yes.
Fuck.
So eventually, Major Guns is overcome.
But Major Guns is still Major Guns.
Right.
Yes.
The show is so stupid.
Major Guns is so overcome by her fake emotion, which was supposed to be real emotion, but she's such a horrible actress, it was fake emotion. She comes running down to David Flair when she has to fake cry in the ring.
Oh,
What in the fuck are we doing with our lives?
slowly dying.
Somewhere in here, she says she feels like it's her fault. So David says, it's your fault. He begins to menace and threaten her until Stacy comes out looking hot, looking fine, dressed to the nines, hair done, nails did. She pulls David off and says, David, I'm pregnant.
Yes.
So the serious injury in the mud match was, I guess,
What was in that mud?
I don't know. She had contractions
a
9
kick,
months early.
a severe kick to from the inside.
Fuck.
So,
So if you haven't figured out, they're doing the Who's the Father storyline,
Okay.
which ultimately goes nowhere.
of course,
But if you'd like to guess the two people who are going to be the father,
David and Rick.
yes. No.
No?
One was Rick, and the other option was Vince fucking Russo.
Of course. Yeah. Well, what happened here was David thinks he's the father, so David does the Flair strut, and here was where the cloud of dust comes off his clothes. He looked like Pigpen.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And they kiss a lot. And they would go back
You know how much
stage.
better the Peanuts comic strip was than any of this stuff that we watch on Nitro?
I do.
Like, the worst one is better than the best Vince Russo Nitro.
Lance comes out for a promo. So the pay-per-view, it's a very long story.
Don't even bother telling him.
The surface, well, we'll talk about it on Thursday anyway. Jacques Rougeau was Lance's handpicked special
Vinny,
ref.
don't even bother, because they didn't tell us fucking anything. So why should you
Hey.
alert the listeners?
They told us this.
Okay, you can tell us only what they told us.
Yeah, that's where I got at it.
All right.
Jacques Rougeau was Lance's handpicked special ref, and every time Mike Awesome thought he'd won, Jacques found a new way to restart the match.
Okay.
At the end, Bret Hart came out to celebrate with Lance Storm and Jacques Rougeau in Canada, and everyone cheered. And on the pay-per-view, at least, in the building, everyone went home happy. Well, that's not true. Back to that segment, though. So Lance comes out here in Kelowna. He gets a standing ovation. He buries Americans, brags about making them tap out to the Maple Leaf. He has everyone rise for the Canadian national anthem. Of course, they all do. And then the cat interrupts.
What a dick.
He goes on to be a complete asshole. This is not a heel. This is not a babyface American getting booed because he's in Canada. This was an asshole being a dick and getting booed because of it. Kiss my American black ass, he says. He buries the fat women in the crowd. He buries the ugly kids in the crowd. Crowd is begging Lance to kick his ass. Cat threatens to beat up the entire country. He says he's going to give Mike Awesome a rematch tonight. He calls Lance a Power Ranger about a dozen times. So often that even Madden has to point out he's using the same line. By the way, being a Power Ranger, not an insult. They win all the time. And then Cat makes himself the special guest referee. So it's Mike Awesome versus Lance Storm with Cat as special ref. They do some stuff. Jacques comes out. He attacks the Cat. Huge pop.
I prefer to say the Mountie hit the ring, followed by PCO.
That is exactly happened. Yep. For a brief time here, and apparently Lance says this is the only segment they were ever together, we had the best Canadian trio ever of the Mountie, PCO, and Lance Storm. Yeah. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
That is a perfect unit.
That's King of Trios right there.
Oh my God. I would buy a ticket and fly across the country to see Lance Storm, PCO, and the Mountie in King of Trios. So, Elix comes out. He's the other Canadian. Elix Skipper is a Canadian now. Yeah. And his Nitro debut, Elix Skipper. So there's a bunch of bullshit. Eventually, Lance, as I wrote here, Lance is somehow declared the winner.
Well, Shat got beat up, and then he returned. He beat up the Quebecers. Elix Skipper showed up. He beat up Shat, and then Rougeau stopped the match when Awesome was in the Maple Leaf.
Right. I thought Cat was the ref.
But the rules apparently were that there were no submissions in this match.
I guess.
Who the fuck knows?
I don't know.
It was WCW.
So
is what it was.
The Cat was the ref, but Rougeau stopped the match.
I guess.
Okay.
Don't look at me, dude. So we go to the break.
Rougeau showed up in another ref shirt, so apparently he was a ref. Yeah. He just showed up from last night.
Is that all you have to do to get involved?
Well, if he was a ref last night, I mean, his license is still good.
Okay.
They go backstage, and it's Pamela Polishok, and she goes, "Oh my God, Lance, are you like forming some kind of Canadian army?"
You know, I was going to do it. I'm so happy he did. I couldn't do Pamela Polishok like you just did.
No, you couldn't.
No. So, yes, are you forming some kind of Canadian army? Okay, let's rewind here and what they've done with Lance for the past 4 to 6 weeks. He's kicked everyone's ass. Mm-hmm. He's won every belt in the world.
That's right.
He comes out, there's so many belts, he has to strap them to each other and wrap them all around him like chains. He's a star among stars. Here's how it ends. PCO, you are now the new hardcore champion. Hands in the belt. Elix Skipper, you are the new 100 kilogram and under champion. And he hands in the cruiserweight belt.
Guess that is 220.
They've spread out all the belts. So I'm thinking, well, that's dumb. They've made Lance less of a star for no reason. But hey, they brought in some new names, and they're trying to get those new names over as important people on their first night. Okay. I thought that seems like a sound idea.
And Lance didn't have to job, not even one time.
Didn't have to job. The Cat comes in. He says they will have to defend their new belts tonight.
Who's they? Lance didn't. Apparently it was just PCO and Elix.
The new guys, yeah.
Whoop-de-doo.
So, okay. Bear with me, all right?
Okay.
Booker T was shown winning the title of the pay-per-view. He beat Jarrett. He's still the champion.
Okay.
Fine.
I'm with you.
By the way, the show's almost an hour old. This is the first time anyone's mentioned that. Then Booker comes out. And Jarrett comes out. And I don't know what's going on. Are they going to fight? They're dressed to wrestle, but they just wrestled last night. And then it occurs to me, well, it's Nitro. They could just do another match. I guess they're just doing a title rematch for no reason here. The bell rings. After the bell is rung, we are then told this will be Jeff Jarrett's last shot at the world title.
Yeah.
What?
Who knows, Vinny? Who cares? Thank God. Let's at least celebrate something good coming out of this show.
I was convinced this had to have been announced on something that was edited off the network somehow or lost to technical difficulties.
All I wanted to know was this match real or fake? It's fake, right?
It was fake because the only joy I get out of watching Jeff Jarrett matches in 2000 is trying to guess when the ref's going to be bumped.
Oh, yes.
And I was wrong. It happened. He just got hit with a guitar.
Yeah.
I thought they'd be a little more subtle about it.
Booker went for a guitar shot, and Jarrett pulled the ref in front, and second ref ran in, and it was every Jeff Jarrett match ever. And Jarrett hit the stroke, and Goldberg pulls Jarrett out of the ring.
What a great champion Booker T is.
Destroys this guy.
He tried to cheat, failed, got beat, and got saved by outside interference.
Yes. And then Goldberg cuts a promo on Russo.
Yeah.
One down, he says, 2 to go. Watch your ass, you're next.
He did say that, that's right.
Whoop-de-doo. Yeah, what a fucking champion. All that work they did with Booker T and Lance last week, and now he's just another fucking geek again.
So the announcers are talking about how Jarrett will never get another title shot again. So there's a question, why? If he's the chosen one, why can't they choose to give him another shot?
I don't know, especially since Russo's back.
I find it hard to believe that this is the last time he's
Well, I suspect they'll find a way around that. Remember last week I had a rant about how nothing good ever happens to any woman on Nitro? We go backstage. The only person on the entire show who treats a woman with any kind of dignity and respect, of all people,
Where are you going with this?
is Scott Steiner.
Yeah.
Now, if you pay attention to what he actually said, what he told Pamela was, in slightly more kind words, shut up and look pretty. But it was the way he said it. He was trying to suck up to her.
The way he shushed her.
He did shush her, but he was soft-spoken to her.
What do you mean? He put his finger in her mouth. He said,
You're not wrong.
"Shh,"
He is very
and then
kind to Madesha.
He stuck
wrong.
his finger
Of all the
in
people to be
woman's
stretching,
mouth.
Vinny. Anyway,
So-
he's going to kill Nash tonight.
He says Goldberg is scared he's going to beat up Nash. Carl the Rave Willett.
The Rave Roulette. Let's just call him PCO.
PCO comes out to defend his title against Norman Smiley.
Yeah.
The story is that Norman Smiley does not want to be hardcore champion and doesn't want to be out there.
Okay, so lay down in the middle of the fucking ring.
Do you know-
We all know it's fake.
There are few things I hate more in wrestling than so-and-so doesn't want to be in this match. Just walk to the back and get counted out. There's no count-outs. Lay down and get pinned. There's no pins. Just submit. There's no reason to be in a match you don't want to be in. It makes no sense. It's dumb.
Well, that makes perfect sense on this fucking show.
So he's out there getting beat up forever. It's not horrible, but it goes way too long for this match on this show. Here's the finish. Norman's laid out on a table. PCO is going for the cannonball off the top rope. Norman grabs the ref. The ref has been grabbed by Norman. He tries to stand up, which pulls Norman off the table. PCO goes through the table. Norman collapses back on top of him. The ref counts 3. Norman has accidentally pinned PCO to win a title he does not want.
Yes.
10 minutes ago, I said part of the idea was to give PCO a belt and get him over in one night. What a dipshit I am.
You
what
sure
a
are.
dumb man I can be sometimes.
They beat him on his first night for a title that he was gifted.
Right.
And he lost it to a man who doesn't want to be the champion and
my
tried
God.
to reject the belt.
He tried to lose.
Yes, this is so bad. Like, it's so bad.
Yeah. The cat says something we can't hear.
Norman does a promo. We can't hear him either.
I didn't catch that. Kiwi got an idea from Cat's, whatever Cat said. Nash does a promo.
Oh, my God. Pamela clumsily asks him about the match with Steiner tonight. Nash wants to know if Russo's being drug tested. Why would I win a number 1 contenders match on Sunday and then have to defend that on Monday, he says.
It's fair.
Well, he says, I was told that Steiner deserves a second chance. Well, there's another guy who deserves... He starts talking about fucking Scott Hall. I have so turned on Scott Hall. As
He's
a
not even
fan,
here.
at this point, I am begging for him never to wrestle again or ever appear on this program. I'm so sick of this Scott Hall storyline. He goes on and on about fucking Scott Hall and then says, until Hall gets a second chance, Steiner's not getting a second chance. I'm only working tonight if I face Booker T. He walks off. It's like, wow. Russo's got some power. Like, it's fake, but, you know, these guys aren't doing what he says. Nash going against the script
This is the story.
Yeah. But Booker, who just had a fake match, apparently may come out and have a real fake match with Nash. Because Nash won't have a fake match. Fuck if I know. I'm so lost.
We're trying so hard.
Jesus Christ, this show's stupid.
The Filthy Animals come out for a promo.
This started so bad. It started so bad. The Filthy Animals come out, then Chronic comes out to do commentary. Then they're attacked by the Heresy.
Skipping over some of the shit.
There's fucking so much shit going on. I'm so lost. And all of a sudden, Vamp and Muda are facing Ray and Hoovy in the ring. And I'm like, what in the fuck is happening? Can we just not have some wrestling matches here? Real or fake? What did I miss? What stupidity did I miss?
Conan explaining that Chronic is only good for lifting weights, peeling our potatoes, and helping Richard Gere count his gerbils.
Wow.
I don't know where this Richard Gere gerbil thing started, but I can only imagine if that rumor had started when Twitter was around.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
That got started without social media.
Yes.
Think about that.
Yes. So, yes, the Harris brothers and Chronic brawl at the announce desk. And that's going on. They cut back to the ring, which, by the way, this match that's been going on has not been on TV. It's for the World Tag Team Championships.
Vinny, did you listen to Lance on the show a couple weeks ago? He talked about Conan talking about when something doesn't make sense, Conan would refer to it as Mexican tragedy.
Sure.
Twice.
Yeah.
In this segment, he mentioned it.
Many times. So, it suddenly occurred to me, I'm watching Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Great Muta on this show.
Yeah.
What a complete waste. So they try to do an American tag match, 3 luchadors and a Japanese guy. Wasn't bad, but it was weird. Poison Mist, not a DQ. Lights go out, there's lightning, thunder, Sting's music. Sting is in the ring, hitting Vampiro and the Great Muta with a baseball bat. Not a DQ. Lights go all the way out, then the lights come back up. Hoovy is on top, the Filthy Animals win. They are your new tag team champions.
Whoop-de-doo. The match was actually good. It was just so hard to concentrate on the match because of all of the bullshit that happened at the beginning. And then, so, like, Sting runs out with his bat, and he runs wild on Vamp and Muta, and we had the finish. And then they go to commercial, and they come back, and now they're backstage, and Sting is laying on a table, and Muta is about to cut him with a knife. And the fucking... Wait, this is later, right?
That is later.
Okay.
You're confusing your Dark Carnival segments.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Well, the reason is because you had the Filthy Animals, the Dark Carnival, you had Chronic, you had Sting, you had the Harrises. This was one segment.
Yeah. So what happened here, Brian, is that Demon, Muta, and Vamp are in Cat's office. They want a 4 corners match with Sting. Cat says, sure, he can whip your ass again. He gives them the match. Kwee, the new 100 kilogram and under champion, comes out to defend his belt against... Excuse me, Elix, the new 100 kilogram and under, comes out to defend against Kwee. I don't know how long Kwee-Wee's wife, Papaya, was part of this act. She looks so uncomfortable.
Do you know who this is?
Do you know who that is?
I have no idea who that is.
It's fucking BB, the giant-breasted medic.
Oh, really?
I could not even believe it when I found that out.
Yeah.
She looks nothing like she did in WWE.
Yeah, she's lost a little bit of weight. She cut her hair and
And it's brown.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I didn't believe the person that told me, so I looked it up. He was right.
How about that? Elix Skipper, when the show began, was just an up-and-coming young wrestler. Then we were told he was Canadian-born. Then we were told he was a CFL football player.
Yes.
Now he is a CFL All-Star. All in about 90 minutes here. But, you know what? As goofy as that is, this crowd now saw Elix as a Canadian hero, so they were totally into the match.
It was like an incredible amount of heat for Elix Skipper versus Kwee.
In his Nitro debut.
Yeah.
And Kwee has been only twice. So, Elix pulls out what they claim is a Grey Cup ring. Now, you'd think putting the ring on and hitting a guy with it would be finish enough, but he must put it on, they must do stuff for 3 minutes, then punch him, and wins. This was not horrible. And then Kwee lays out the ref because why not? Sting goes for a walk, and as Sting is like doing the towards the camera walk, Goldberg is in the background just meandering. Like he's looking for something to do. We get the 4 corners match.
Okay. It's Sting versus the Demon versus Vampiro versus Muta, okay?
Yeah.
So you see that, and it's like, okay, well, it's a 3-on-1 match. But no, Vampiro bullies the Demon on every show. Yeah. So in this match, since it's a 4 corners match, he starts beating the shit out of the Demon. Okay. So he's beating the shit out of the Demon, blah, blah, blah. And then finally, the Demon has had enough of being bullied, and he gets a fucking stick, and he turns on Vampiro and Muta. To which Mark Madden, he's flummoxed. Why would the demon do that? I'm like, the one fucking storyline on this whole goddamn show that makes sense, and you're fucking flummoxed like it's a swerve? Are you kidding me? So, Sting wins, and Sting and the demon, like, shake hands or whatever. You know, they won, right?
Well,
Is that where this ended?
Sting had Muta and the Scorpion.
Yes.
Demon is beating up Vamp with the cane.
Yes.
The bell rings.
Okay.
So I thought Demon was DQ'd for using a stick.
I think it was a...
Then we were told Muta had submitted.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. But, like, they left standing tall, right?
Sting and Demon did, yes.
Okay. So, am I wrong, or do we not go to commercial and come back, and Sting is laid out on a slab backstage,
Yeah.
and Muta has a dagger?
Yeah.
I'm not making this up. And he's going to cut Sting, and the demon shows up and makes a save with a bat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's another detail.
Okay, please.
There is, as this stabbing is being attempted backstage on a slab. Where Sting is
Hold
laid
on,
out.
stop. Forget that. They were together in the ring celebrating.
Yeah.
They went to commercial, and Sting was laying on a slab about to be murdered.
He was.
Okay, so what show did I miss where whatever happened in that commercial break?
They went to commercial.
What in the fuck? Why was he backstage on a slab?
Why was there a guy in the corner of the room taking a nap?
What
He's
in
sitting
the
in a
fuck?
chair with his arms closed. There's some guy. Just
What happened here? Like, was there a backstage segment they forgot to air?
I don't know.
They literally, I just was like, what? I was hoping I missed something and like you could explain it to me.
Nope.
Okay.
You got it all. You did miss one thing. It has nothing to do with anything we just talked about. But during this segment, it was announced to get you, the viewer, to tune into Thunder. You will be able to watch Mark Madden wrestle Gene Okerlund.
Oh my God. For the love of Pamela Paulshock.
I believe, as I recall, Pamela does have quite an entrance in that match.
Jesus God Almighty.
So Nash comes out. He's got a random mysterious package with him. And he starts talking about Scott Hall.
Oh,
Now,
I was like, go away and never come back.
see, I going down the same path, my thought was Scott Hall needs to never come back for his own sake. He has never been more over than by not being on the show. He's a main eventer by not being on the show. This goes on for a long time. Nash does an interview with a cardboard standee of Scott Hall. They have some guy in the back taking a mic and going, "Hey, yo." This joke goes over the crowd's head, totally dies. Nash goes on and on and on for a while, talks about being on live TV, and says, "Okay, Booker, come out, I'm done."
I thought it was to wrestle Scott Hall here. Or, I'm sorry, Scott Steiner.
I'm telling you what he said. You try to make sense of it as you can.
Okay.
So Booker T does come out. He's in street clothes. Before he can do or say anything, Scott Steiner attacks them both with a lead pipe. He lays them out. He has defeated them both. Then Goldberg appears on the screen with Medeja. And Goldberg says,
The babyface.
Sure. Well,
I'm sorry.
They did say the fans love him. I'd forgotten that, Craig. Thank you for reminding me. The fans love him. We can't fire him because the fans love him so much. So Goldberg says, I always tell my fans, never put your hands on a lady. But any bitch that's been with you ain't no damn lady. And he grabs Medeja and he lifts her up for a jackhammer and the screen goes blank. The Nitro logo comes up. And Scott Steiner runs to the back where he finds Medeja lying in the rubble of a table. And he freaks out and he screams Goldberg's name and he runs off.
I can only imagine how much Bill Goldberg must have enjoyed being a violent woman beater here on this show. Portrayed as a man who jackhammered poor Medeja through a table in the
She
back.
did nothing to him.
Nothing.
Or anyone else for that matter.
No.
She's just minding her own business backstage.
This may have been the second worst Nitro I've ever seen. Maybe the first.
I don't know this.
It's very close.
I don't know this at all. But I strongly suspect they came up to Bill and said, we needed to jackhammer Medeja to the table. And he said, bullshit. And he said, and he may have finally talked him into pretending to, and we'll have the screen cut out and then put her in the rubble. But I would not surprise me one bit if they wanted him to do that. And he flat out said no.
Well, are you ready?
This is a long one.
Yeah, good luck with this one.
Here. Let's see. Where's my music here?
Just play any music.
Well, I gotta make sure that other stuff doesn't play like the opening gimmick.
The finishes on this show were, believe it or not, in the opener, clean pin. I think submission after interference by 2 crooked refs and 2 other men. DQ due to interference. Pin by a guy who didn't want to be in the match and wasn't trying to win. Pin after a brawl at the commentary desk, and Poison Mist was not a DQ, and the lights went out and a scary mime attacked man with a bat. Pin after a guy put on a big ring and then hit a punch like 3 minutes later. Submission and or DQ due to kendo stick shot in a 4 corners match. Main event canceled when both men are attacked by a pipe-wielding lunatic, and then a woman got put through a table off camera.
Boom.